Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Now let's give a warm welcome to our main speaker, Beverly.
Hi, I'm Beverly. I'm a very grateful alcoholic. I want to thank Donna for asking me to speak tonight. And I want to thank all of you for being here. And I don't know what I want to say. Oh, yes, I do. First of all, I'm not going to be funny like Colin. You were hilarious. I loved it. And I loved to share. Let me get some of the statistics out of the way. I'll be sober 20 years come January. And I love every minute of it. And I got here after I didn't say anything. I got here after a 15-day blackout, and I didn't think I was an alcoholic. I really didn't. I really have to get serious. I don't come from a family of alcoholics. I did not know about alcoholism. I was a daily drinker and user for a very long time. I didn't even know what blackout drinking meant until I was sober quite a while. There are periods in the 70s that are absolutely gone from me. There are periods in the early 80s that are too, and I was sober, but no, I'm, but all I can remember, not to go through the whole, yes, I will. I thought that if I had everything I was ever told would make me happy, that I would really be happy, which was money, property, and prestige, married, lots of kids, good career, profession, whatever. And all of the above happened, and I never, ever, ever felt happy. If I did, it was so momentary. You know, if you're goal-oriented and you get what you're going for, you have that second when it's, yeah, and then it's over. You know, it just doesn't stay. So then you got to go for it again, and you got to go for it again and again and again, and it's a futile exercise. It really is, and I did that for a long, 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 long time. When I got here, I was divorced, and from that marriage that was supposed to make me happy, and I had 4 children, and that was supposed to make me happy, and I had colorful and prosperous career, and that was supposed to make me happy, and it didn't. And I wound up this poor sick human being who drank if I had to answer the phone, drank if I had to drive my car, drank if I had to go to the mailbox, took as many pills as I possibly could, and worked very hard at looking like I really had it together. When I got sober, I could walk into a room and look like this. On the outside, I really had it together. If you walked into my home, it was neat and clean and beautiful. I had it, you know, in fact, I was so anal and compulsive, I kept everything looking so great just in case House and Gardens was going to show up. And, you know, and the inside was just deteriorating. And so finally, I got sober January the 16th. I remember New Year's Eve of 1976. And I was making, you know, those middle of the night phone calls to people everywhere. And I was weeping a lot. I remember that. I don't know who I called. I don't know where these everywhere's, I don't know. But the next thing I know was it was January the 15th. And I was calling my sister, who's in Al-Anon. She's taught me not to call her a Al-Anon. She's in Al-Anon. And she's this big. And I call her my black belt Al-Anon sister. And I called her up and I said, I'm ready for your fucking AA. Now, the interesting thing is, everybody got into action because they were waiting for me, hopefully not to die, because I was swallowing. They didn't even know about the pills and the everything else. They just thought I was drinking. But they were waiting for me and took me to my very first meeting on January the 16th of 1977 at 26th and Broadway. Dark, grim, gray room. And it matched my mood, and it was fine. I have often thought about that phone call and how I got here. Because I don't remember what was said to me because I was in a blackout, but my daughter, who was still living with me, my little daughter was still living with me, and she came in and she saw me, and she's told me what I looked like and the booze and the stuff that was on the table next to me. I don't have any memory of it. And she said, I said what I normally said. When things looked grim and not to worry, I've got it handled. And my brother-in-law had gotten sober 5 weeks before I did, and he's still sober and reminds me that he's got 5 weeks more than I do. And they took me to this meeting, and they were very loving and wonderful because the speaker was an actor whom I had known. And the last time I saw him, we were both drinking, and he was in a play on Broadway with a woman in the play that I had produced in a play. So I got to meet him, and then the next thing I know, he's standing up at the podium, and he's saying these ridiculous things. And he's sober a year, and he's still sober, so he has a year more than I do. And all I could do was cry. I just didn't know what had happened to me. I think I'm talking about this because now I know. I never know what I'm going to say, but a lot of people stood up today as newcomers. And that impressed me. Because I also heard tonight that a gal I sponsored when she got sober when she was about 24 years old, and she's got about 10 or 12 years, stood up at a meeting recently as a newcomer. I've been out of town, and that affected me. I'm going to jump around so I can get everything I want to say out and get off. But I didn't love AA when I got here. I didn't want to be here. I just never told that to anybody. I didn't relate. It was not what I had aspired to. And but I showed up every day. I got a sponsor at 2 weeks. I went to 7 to 10 meetings for almost 10 years a week, 7 to 10 meetings a week. I spoke to Roz every day for almost 10 years. She's lucky. She lives in Iowa, and I'm going to be 20, so I don't do that anymore. But once I think the dust and the cobwebs and everything settled, I have never, ever not wanted to be here. I've never gotten tired of meetings. I've just never gotten tired of learning how to live this life. And I love being a sober alcoholic, and just as pompous and grandiose and a pain in the ass as I was before I got sober, that's how I am about being sober. I mean, that didn't change in my... I think we're better than anybody else. I only want to be with you guys. And the rest of them annoy the hell out of me. And the only difference, Collins, I don't like to be around drinking alcoholics anymore. They sadden me. They make me sad. But sober alcoholics I love, so I'm very happy to be around them. I've had a lot of pleasure over the years in sponsoring women. I've had a lot of pleasure over the years growing up and maturing and becoming, I think, the person that God wanted me to be in this program. And it's taken me a long time. It did not happen right away. I was in the most unnurturing, absurd relationship of my life when I was 10 years sober. So I haven't had to do that anymore, but it just shows that you don't get there right away. I'm a little jet lagged. I got in last night from being in Prague for about 12 days. So it's a 9-hour difference, and I flew for about 14 hours. And the first thing I did was go to my favorite Friday night meeting, because when I'm away, I never have a problem. I'm never worried about drinking and using. I just get very lonesome for my AA people. And I'm fine, I'm cool. I clear my messages, and everybody calls me, and I hear their sweet voices, and it keeps me going. And but then when I come home, I can't wait to get back to my meetings. So I was really very, very happy that I was able to get to that meeting last night and to know that I was going to be here tonight. I've had a very, very, very difficult my 19th year going into my 20th year. Oh, I guess I'm in my 20th year. And miracles happen in AA, and we can stay sober and clean no matter what. I'm living proof of that. When I got here, I did not think I would be able to stay sober if a member of my family died, and mostly if anything would happen to any of my children. My children are all grown and married and have children of their own. I'm a very blessed woman. I have been at births with my little grandchildren. Sober women get invited into birthing rooms. And my dad died when I was 7 years sober, and I did not lose my mind, and I did not go out and drink, and that was a real cool. I've had lots of different things happen in my life. I have been assaulted and robbed at gunpoint and knife point in sobriety, and I got through that okay. Lived in Brooklyn and New York, and nothing ever happened. I come here, and that's what happened. And but almost about 15 months ago, my son was diagnosed with a very severe and virulent cancer. And I didn't drink and use over it, but it's been a very scary time. And what has sustained me, let me put it this way so I don't sound like I'm preaching, I get my strength from a power greater than myself, whom I choose to call God. I do not believe that God gives you cancer. I do not believe, if I believed in those things, I would be drinking and using, because innocent children die and bad things happen to really good people, and it has nothing to do with that. It's life. It's nature. It's whatever. And that's what happens. And the only way that I could live with what was going on in my life was because I could trust and believe in God. And things were not going as well as we would have liked. They were treating him. He had surgeries. He had radiation. He had chemo. Things were not going well. And last month, while I was away, I received word that that instead of getting better, if the cancer progressed as it was, he only had 6 months to live. And I don't know how I didn't die when I heard it. The last thing I thought, I didn't even think about taking anything. Not drinking, not using. I used to smoke. I mean, nothing. I was just okay breathing. And they decided to try a drug, a very old one, but not one that they had used for his kind of sarcoma. And to make a long story short, I went to Prague on a location, and I was glad to go because I needed the distraction. He was going to go in for tests last Monday. And it can make you crazy if you're not drinking and using. Just to be alive and breathe in and out and accept life on life's terms, it's trying. It's a strain. Anyway, he called me last Monday night. Now, the earth has moved. I've got to tell you, he has more people in this world praying for him. Not only the people I know, whom I love and who love me, but his people. And I mean, the waves and waves of prayers have been going out for this boy. Enough to really shift the earth. And on Monday he called, and this last drug worked. And he's got a long haul ahead of him. But he's got a shot. And we didn't have that last month. So, that was Monday. And I'm far away. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning for me when he's calling me. It's the afternoon here. And I was going to wake up the whole goddamn hotel and tell them, everybody get up. And it was a miracle. It was a miracle. So I flew in last night, went to the meeting, shared the good news with a lot of people who have been there with me, and God bless you all. And then today I went with him for another course of treatment, and he's incredible. And talk about the miracles, and the power of God. And all I could do whenever I prayed was, I do believe in divine intervention if it was going to happen, and that God does work through the doctors, and God bless them. And I stayed clean and sober. And I was able to be there for life. Now, I know that on Monday, and this is Saturday, Monday I started to smile from the inside, and I haven't stopped smiling. I know that. And I know for a little over a year that was not the case. I mean, I smiled, but I wasn't smiling from inside. And you could see the strain. I know it. I'm able to live my life today with joy, with compassion, with a sensitivity that I never even knew existed or could exist in my life. I can be today the kind of person I want to be with people. I can be the kind of person today that when somebody said something to me on location, this little Czech interpreter said something that was very rude, I didn't have to walk away from that table as I would have with a terrible resentment, and blah. I was able to stop and say that was really unacceptable, and she's the one who drove me to the airport and said, I'm sorry that we started off on that false note, but I realized I was just being defensive of my country, and I said, I can relate to that. I understand that.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
And we were cool. We were clean. That's not how I lived before. That's not who I was before. I'm able to be in a room today with my son and his father, and we had fun. We were doing crossword puzzles and watching the Bulls and the Knicks play basketball, and had Chinese food. I wanted to kill that man for years after we were divorced. Homicidal. And today, I've known him since I'm 16 years old. And today, I mean, we're back to being just, like the good friends and the good parents we always were. We were always good parents. We just didn't make it as a husband and wife. And we could be there for our son. Only because I'm sober today. And that's God's truth. And thank you very, very much for being here.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with, and it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.